We have 6 volunteers today, and they're going to go 2 at once. And we're going to, well, hang on, let's bring them up first. It's going to be Anna and Abby are going to start out. So, Anna and Abby. You can sit, do you want to, so we can either be in chair, the way this works, y'all, is either you could be in, sometimes I feel like people are more comfortable sitting at the table, but you could also sit in a chair. It's just if you're in a chair, then you're a lot lower than me, and that's an issue. Do you want to try at the table? Just sit on the table? Is that good? All right, man. Hop up on the table then. So we're going to do the first one with both of you. And here's what I want to say about this class. First off, I heard Jeff, I don't know, somebody was talking to somebody and who was here in class. I'm going to talk for a few minutes, and you all can just watch the class from this angle. And these, by the way, the microphones, remember everybody? Just pull it down, it turns it off, turns it on. All right, and it starts really fast. Okay, so here's what I want to say to you all. You don't learn anything in this class. That's not what this class is. If you want to learn something, then I would come in and I would give you information, and you would write it down or memorize it or something, and then you would leave with some kind of factoids in your minds, right? That would be typically how a university class would be organized. And I suppose that has its merits, but after 37 years of teaching for me, I can't do that anymore. I'm not interested, especially because you all have these smartphones. If there's anything you ever want to learn about anything, just look it up on your phone. It's right there. You don't need me. And if you're not curious enough to have a question and have an idea as to how to answer the question, then this whole charade of education is complete nonsense. So we don't need to, I don't know why we would be here. You know what I mean? What are we doing here? So, don't come in here expecting to learn. Come in here expecting to think. It's a thinking class. And my job is to inspire us to think about some things. And however we want to do that. So my job is to be sort of like a provocateur in a way, so that I throw ideas out, and then I'll put data up, I'll put different things on the screen, like I'll put a table, or I'll show a photo or a news story or something like that, and that'll go on the screen, then we'll talk about it. But it's not a place where you just write data down, because you don't need to do that. Okay. However, the one thing we do is we have Abby, we have Anna here, and the two of them are going to talk about a subject matter that I'm going to put up on the screen in a few minutes. And then we're going to have a conversation about that. And you all are not the experts on this, on what we're going to put up here, right? You don't even know what it is. You have no idea yet, right? You're not the experts on it. So you wouldn't be expected to be the experts. That's not what it is. And if I wanted experts, I would go find someone who's an expert on all these subject matters, and I'd bring them into class, and they would talk at you, but not with you. And then you also wouldn't have a chance to really explore. Because the two of you, if I ask you to say something about this topic right now, you only know what you think when you're asked to articulate it. So you might say on this topic, either one of you might say, oh, I know all about that. But when I say, oh, really? Tell me what you know. Tell us then what you know, what you see. That's when we start to see, like, whoa, hang on a second. You got to take thoughts, or what you think are thoughts, and you got to put them into words, and they come out of your mouth. And then you start to really examine what it is that you're thinking about. So, for example, everybody who has ever been a teacher has made the following proclamation: that I learned how to think, and I learned about my subject matter when I first started teaching. It was at that moment that I had to put ideas into words, that I had to start to develop a framework for seeing and understanding the world. Okay? So that's what the two of you are going to start doing today. And it may be that one of you really knows a lot about this subject matter. Like sometimes we'll get a volunteer up here and they will just have a great deal of vision about whatever it is. And it may be that there's other people in the classroom that have thought about this a lot. And sometimes someone in the classroom will say, hey, wait a minute. Can I just jump up and say a couple things and then we'll do that? Whatever it is, we do the volunteer thing in lots of different ways. But this is how it operates. So you're not expected to know. In fact, I love it when people don't know anything or think they don't know anything, because then what happens is we start to say, well, tell us what you do know. And you'd be surprised at how much we have thought about certain things that we were just never really asked the right questions, right? So it's like being in therapy. Those of you who have been in therapy, right? You know. You sit down with this therapist who's really smart and thoughtful, and that person starts asking you really good. Have either of you ever been in therapy? Both of you? Yeah. Awesome, man. And do you have a cool therapist? Yeah? Dude, so you know what I'm saying, right? Am I right? Like when they start asking you really good questions, what happened? Go ahead. You can turn your mics on now. We're starting right now. So yeah, what happened?
I mean, my therapist, I think I know everything about myself, and that I'm like, okay, yeah, I can figure myself out. And then she'll ask me a question, and then I'll just sit there and go, oh, I never really thought of it like that before. And then I kind of think of it like a different way, and then that's how I kind of learn about myself more.
Yeah, a really good question, right? That you really think, right? You think you've thought about everything, and a good therapist throws you a curveball. How about you? Did you have it?
For me, it's more like every time he asks me a really cool question, I just discover a feeling that I was feeling but didn't know how to name it.
Yeah. And so this is like me. That was my experience as well. I felt like I became a human being through therapy for myself. Well, first off, I found God through mushrooms. And then after the mushrooms, I became a human being through therapy, right? But this is like teaching for me. The reason I still teach, and the reason every single Social 119 class is different, every single semester. This year there will be 60 different Social 119 classes. And the reason for that is because I get bored with the same stuff. I want to learn some new things. So, all right, let's go to the next slide. This is the title of the class. It's called What Do We See? That's the title of today's class. I forgot we had that title. All right, go ahead. Next slide, my friend. Critical race theory. Tell us what you see. And now notice I'm not saying what you know, because know implies knowledge. Knowing implies correct thinking. Knowing implies truth. Knowing implies right and wrong. Knowing implies all sorts of things. So a person could say, all I know is I just have, whatever it is. What do you see? Critical race theory. Tell us about it. Who wants to go? Abby. And remember, hold the mic close.
So I don't know much about the critical race theory. I've heard of it before. I just don't know that much about it. But from what it looks like with the picture, it looks like it's about how all the different races kind of get along and how they can function together.
How different racial groups get along, how they function together. Okay. By the way, the photo is just a random photo that I chose. So, okay.
Oh.
But that's okay. That's all right. No. This is good, though. Go for it. Yep. Okay. Well, so what else? We're going to stick with Abby. What else? So you say you've heard this before, right?
Yes, I have.
Where have you heard about it?
I honestly don't remember. Probably from something like when I've listened to the different things that have been happening on the news, like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. It's kind of I've heard about it in passing. I can't really put words to what I remember, but I definitely remember hearing it before.
Okay. And okay. So, in what you heard, did you hear positive things, negative things, or what is is it provocative? Is it?
Yeah, it definitely seemed more provocative, I guess, because it kind of from what I'm guessing from it, it kind of talks about social issues between the races, and so it just seemed very like it would point things out to me that I didn't realize were like things going on before, like, if that makes sense.
Okay. Listen, man. Okay, so you get that, right? So suddenly now I'm asking her more, and now she's starting to say more. You're putting pieces together a little bit. Like, oh wait, it's asking me to look at something, some social issue or look at it that we haven't looked at before. Okay, cool. Yep. Anna, how about you?
So for me, when I look at the picture, I have no idea what it means.
What
But I
critical
can just,
race
like,
theory means?
Like altogether, I just have no idea what he means.
Well, don't think about the picture, just like critical race
no,
theory.
not the pictures. I mean like the whole sentence altogether.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it feels like it's something like already like science. Like it feels like it's a theory.
Yeah.
But I really just look at the words critical and race because I feel like those are the ones that actually matter from that.
Yep.
And it's just like the importance of like understanding race.
Mm-hmm. It's some kind of understanding of race. I'm going to come back in. Abby, how do you identify?
I'm a white female.
White. What's your ethnic ancestry?
So I am Irish, Polish, Austrian, English. Like I'm basically European.
Yep. Okay. And you're from the U.S. Where are you from in the U.S.?
I'm from Pennsylvania.
From where?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Where in Pennsylvania?
I'm from like right out, like 45 minutes outside of Philly.
Okay. All right. And Anna, how about you? Dude, everyone's from 45 minutes outside of Philly, man. It's like, you know what I mean? But that's all right. No, that's all right. I mean, look, who's not from 45 minutes outside of Philly? Like, okay. All right. Well, there you go. Half the class.
Okay, I'll be more specific. I'm Bucks County.
Bucks County. All right, dude. Anna, what's your background?
So for race, I do identify as Black, but I am Hispanic. I'm Dominican.
You're Dominican.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Wait, both parents?
Yeah, and I was born and raised there.
You were born and raised?
Yeah.
In the DR? Where in the DR?
Santo Domingo.
Where? Santo Domingo? Yeah. And so you speak Spanish?
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you come to the U.S.?
About 5 years ago.
5 years ago? Were you speaking English in the DR?
Oh, no.
Wow, really? Because you picked up English really fast. It sounds like you have it really an American
Thank you.
No, that's neither positive or negative, right? It's just an observation.
Thank you.
All right, okay. No, but really, okay, all right. I wouldn't expect that. No, by the way, can I do a lesson here really fast?
Yeah.
All right, hang on. That's an observation. It's neither positive nor negative, because it doesn't matter if you are learning a new language and you hold on to your old dialect or you're able to grasp on to another dialect. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. It's just a curiosity and that it happens. And so when you said thank you, which is nice, right? It would sound like I was paying a compliment to you. I wasn't paying a compliment to you. And the reason I say that is because I think we have to get away from thinking that there's one right way to do some things, like learn a language. We should learn a language and we should be able to adopt the dialect of the place of the language we're learning and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't think that. So I just make observations a lot of times, and I'm not making compliments. But nonetheless, it's lovely, it's great, but yet, if you had a really thick Dominican accent, that would be awesome as well. So it's good. Okay, so you are Dominicana. By the way, in the DR, do people say Latinx?
No.
That's another American thing.
Yeah, no.
You hear that though, right?
Like I see.
Can you explain that to everybody real fast, and then we're going to get back to critical race theory?
Latinx?
Latinx, yeah. Why people do that here.
So, okay. Because there's a big difference between being Latin and being Hispanic. Hispanic is just being from a Spanish-speaking country, and then being Latin is from Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
So Latinx, I think, is just to add both genders to it.
Yeah.
But India wouldn't say that.
So if you if the two of you were both from the DR, we would call you Latinas. But if the three of us were from the DR, we would call ourselves Latinos because the masculine dominates. And so you got the masculine and the feminine. But when there's men involved, it becomes masculine. So then you lose the woman-centered nature of things, right?
Yeah, no, in the art, that's what we usually do.
That's what you usually do.
Yeah, they just change everything to like masculine sense.
So here in the United States, what Latinos, Hispanics started to do in the United States is say, wait a minute, we're going to use this thing called Latinx, meaning that we're not going to bring the genderification, if you want to say, into this language here where we separate men and women, right? So we'll just say Latinx. So we don't do the the thing where we turn the two of you into masculine pronouns, so to speak. Okay, so listen. So critical race theory. So do you live in a Dominican community here? And so people aren't talking about critical race theory?
No.
Yeah? Huh. So it's a Dominican community, including like Afro-Caribbean community?
Yeah, there's Puerto Rico. Like I'm from Philly, and North Philly, some the part that I am from is like a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, and Mexicans.
And do you identify as Afro-Caribbean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because you have black blood in you for sure.
Yeah, no, I know that for sure. But there are so many Black Dominicans out there that they completely deny they're Black in them.
Okay, all right. So listen. So what we've said. So say again. So critical race theory. What have we gotten to here?
I was saying that I feel like critical race theory is just kind of about how like the social dynamics and the social issues today of like between the races. Okay.
All right. And you would agree with that? Yeah. Okay. So what I think is really interesting is hang on. Does anyone want to ask a question to either of the two of them? Who would like to ask a question? Anything at all to help get us where we want to go, to understand critical race theory? Bro, my man in the clear mask. I got to get one of those, man. All right. Dude, you're down. Just say, when you talk, just say your name, and do you want to direct it to any one of them? Or?
No, I'll just do it in general. My name is Avi. Junior. Avi, A-V-I, yes.
Yeah.
And my question is, do you believe that critical race theory is just another word for racism?
Dude, awesome. Is critical race theory another word for racism?
I'm going to say no, because it doesn't seem like it's like separating the races and kind of talking about it. Just seems like it's just like it's about social issues like that's happening today that like we need to discuss. So it doesn't seem like it's like calling out one race or another. It just seems like it's like, hey, this is an issue like between races. We need to kind of like think about this more. But I'm also not sure if I'm right. So
okay, Anna, how about you? Do you have a response to him, to Avi? You don't have a response? All right, dude. I have a response. Mine is like, nah, whatever. I don't. Yeah, no. Somebody else. Question? Anyone? Do you guys have a question for the class? How about this one? You ready? Do you guys have a question for someone in the class? You could ask. This could be like that. You throw out a helpline, like, hey, who wants to add something?
Yeah, so can somebody please explain what like critical race theory is to me and like actually see if I'm right, because I really don't know and I don't want to talk about it because I don't feel like I have a right to talk about it because I don't know what it is, so I want to learn more about it.
Who wants to join in, man? Who wants to kick something out? Anybody? Bro. All right, man. Dude. It's an Indian guy. Who would have thought? Leave it up to the Indians to have the answer. You know what I mean? All right, bro. You can. What's your name?
I'm Anurag.
What is it?
Anurag.
Konarov?
Anurag.
All right.
So isn't it like
Wait, can you stand up? Actually, the camera will pick you up better.
Isn't it the theory that America is built on like a racist system? And
Okay,
that,
hold it really close.
that America is built on a racist system?
Uh-huh.
And I think that's it, right? I might be wrong. I'm not sure.
No, dude, you're good.
Okay.
Keep going. Like, what else?
I think I don't know. That's all I know. But
The idea that America is built on a racist system.
yeah.
Okay, all right, we're getting somewhere. All right. Dude, nice. Wait, are you from the U.S. or were you born in India?
Yeah.
From the U.S.? All right. All right.
Yo, Sam, I also got one up here. Ooh, watch your step.
Wait, hang on. All right. What's your name?
My name is Jahaziel. I'm from Philly as well, but I'm also Trinidadian, so it's like both parts. And from what I've heard and learned about critical race theory is basically the sense of learning the different races and the history between academia as well as the history in the United States of races and how what they've been through in general. So what the Asians went through, what the Pacific Islanders went through, what the African Americans went through, and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where have you heard about critical race theory?
I heard about it in high school in my African American history class, but I took it upon myself to Google it and learn more basically.
Uh-huh. And what year are you up here?
I'm a junior.
Junior? What do you study?
Health administration.
Uh-huh. Okay, so it says, so what else? Say more about, is it a positive term, negative term? What, is it politicized? What do you know about it?
It is politicized. It's neither positive nor negative depending on where you lean towards it basically. Because there are some who oppose the learning of critical race theory in class. And there are those who want to have that education to be known for the generations growing up. So they know the history of what black people went through and what other races went through in America. Because everything isn't all sunshine and rainbows and things like that.
Yep. And what's your name again?
Jahaziel.
Jahaz?
Jahaziel.
Oh, man. Hang on. Hey, by the way, you all need to know something about me. So I was a drummer, so I'll just say this to you, since I'm just talking to you. I was a drummer. I played drums starting at the age of 12. I didn't have I never wore ear protection. I really need hearing aids. I might be getting hearing aids halfway through the semester, but one of the reasons I come up in the classroom is because you can hear better in the speakers. So a lot of times I'm just like, oh, shit, I get people to say something in my ear. Jahaziel. Okay. Hey, Anna or Abby, do you have a question for Jahaziel? This is your man right here.
Okay. So we were both, I don't know if, we couldn't really hear you that well, so I kind of heard bits and pieces.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I'm sorry if you could, summarize that again.
Just say the main idea, bro.
So basically the main idea of critical race theory is the learning of different races going throughout the history in the United States. Because this is a United States term, basically.
Mm-hmm. You got that?
Yeah, that makes more sense. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, by the way, you should understand, see how she didn't hear it down there? Because these speakers are, hey, thanks, by the way. Yeah. The speakers they're attenuated. I'm just getting you guys a sense of this room and how, first off, we're working with masks. Secondly, attenuated meaning that they're set to be a certain volume for everybody in the room, regardless of where you're sitting. But what that means is when you're down front, you don't hear the speakers really well. So it's really, imagine being me down there. Shit, I can't hear anything. So thank you, Abby, for validating the fact that it's not just my...
Yeah, we got one more in the front.
All right, go ahead. All right, bro.
Hello, my name is Parker. I'm from New Hampshire. I was just going to build off what they were saying. It's kind of like how racism is kind of entangled in U.S. law, throughout history. How different laws have sort of implemented systematic racism or systemic racism. And it's kind of popular in the media right now because there's a big debate about whether it should be taught in schools, especially K to 12.
Dude, leave it to the white guy. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. Leave it to the white guy. See what I mean? White people, we got this. We got it. All right. Okay, very cool. So you just made a link between the system and laws. Yep. Anybody else want to just kick something out? Really? I'm not gonna say anything. So this is our last chance till we come back to this later. All right, man. Here we go. You pass that down.
Hi, I'm Halima, and I'm from Massachusetts. And I think I was just going to say that there's this opinion that you can just end discrimination or racism in our country by individuals to stop, like, not discriminating against people. But I think the critical race theory goes a little deeper than that, and it looks into different things that happened hundreds of years ago, like in politics. Like he was saying, and in the laws that like have these long-lasting effects, and we have to like do things now to change those effects. And it's more than just individuals not being racist against people, and it's more about looking at the system and how we can like reverse the effects that have been affecting people now.
Dude, awesome. What's your ancestry, by the way?
I'm Pakistani.
You're Pakistani?
Yeah, but I was born
Okay.
here.
By the way, I'm always asking ancestries because I'm like in my mind, I'm getting a sense of who's in the class for future things. Awesome. Okay. Question for her. What's her name again?
Halima.
To-
Halima.
Halima.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Anna, question for Halima or Abby, either one.
I don't think we have any questions. That was very clear. I really appreciate your answer.
Okay. Awesome. You liked her answer? What? Hang on. Thanks. What'd you like about her answer?
I liked how I think she kind of like got her statement out very clearly. I think she made a good point about I think that we need to like start educating people, and that the fact that it's at a threat of like being removed from certain states and things like that kind of threatens the progression of continuing to learn about it and kind of stops change from happening.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome, man. Yep. Thanks. Dude, I put you on the spot right there. Is that cool? You're all right though, right? No, I liked what you said. Anybody else? Anyone want to go for it? Jesus? Jesus knows all.
Wait, Sam, actually, can I say something?
Yeah, please do. This will be, and then we'll go on to our next thing.
So I just want to say that, like, I didn't hear your name or her name, but...
Yeah, what's your name again?
My name is Virginia.
Virginia?
Okay.
Wait,
yeah.
you're Virginia.
So,
all right.
so I just wanted to say that, like, I agree with you. I kind of heard bits and pieces of it, but I heard you say, like something about it being taught in schools. I think it should be taught in schools because I am not very happy that I didn't know that much about it coming up here, and that I had to learn from asking you guys. So I really wish they would teach more of that stuff to us, and that's kind of why I took this class, so I could learn more about like social issues, about what's going on.
So can I ask you a question with that in mind? Do you feel like you should, it sounds to me like you think you should know about critical race theory.
Yes.
Why should you know about critical race theory?
Because to put it frankly, I'm white. I know I have like some things that other people really can't have, so I want to know so I can like help and like kind of support. So I want to like get a feel for things that I personally don't see from my point of view.
Okay, all right, hang on. Anna, can we have a come to Jesus moment here with your white sister here? So she's saying that she feels like she's white. Does that mean you feel like you're privileged because you're white? Okay, so here she comes up here. She's white. She has a certain privilege. She should know about these things, right? As an Afro-Caribbean woman growing up in the DR, like, what do you think about that? When you look at her, should Abby already know about these things? Like, should she know about things affecting the Dominican community and like?
I was just about to say the same thing because when I first came here, first of all, for like me, it's an issue. Like filling out an application, the question for race is always there.
Hang on, hold it right there. All right, you got it. Just hold it really close. All right, you got it.
I feel like they should. I feel like she should know. Just like I feel like they should educate people about race from other countries as well, because slavery happened worldwide, so there is racial issues in more places than just the United States.
So do you think Americans should know about things regarding the like Haiti and the Dominican Republic? And,
Yeah, because America is such a diverse country. Like
Yeah.
here, there's no language that's supposed to be spoken because America is based on that.
okay.
America is based on immigrants from many other countries.
Okay, but listen. Okay, so now I'm going to push a little bit here. Ready? So but you're from the DR. You know, I know life in the DR, right? I mean, you might be from La Clase Alta, right?
No.
I don't know. Okay, you're not, right? Okay, so I know the DR, and I know what it means to live in the DR and be from the DR. And I look out here, and there are a lot of black people in this class who are really they got their American passport, which is a pathway to privilege, right? And they don't know anything about the DR. And so would you say to them then that they really they should know about what your people go through? Like, come on, like, how would you address that?
So I think about that in the way that, like, I've been told, like, oh, you're not black.
Yeah.
Then what am I? Oh, you're Dominican. Being Dominican is my nationality.
Yeah.
It's not my race. And I think it's important to teach people that.
No, I got that, but hang on, I want to stick.
Even if it's just not
but
just
listen.
American.
Listen, but let me ask you this. So, you know life in the DR, right?
Mhm.
Like, you know life in Haiti. Let's go with life in Haiti. It
Life
doesn't
in
really
Haiti.
matter, right? You been to Haiti?
No.
Okay. So life in Haiti is very different. It's like very levels below. Okay. You got black people in this classroom who are from who are wealthy. Okay? They don't know a damn thing about the DR. They don't know a damn thing about Haiti. Nor do they care. Nor do they bother to educate themselves about it because they're busy living life, just like everybody. Just like Abby, you're busy living life, doing your own thing, doing all the things you do. I assume you're a kind person. You're a good person, right? So you haven't done anything wrong. You're just living your life. So now you got all these other people here who are doing the same thing, and they're not paying attention to people in Haiti, people in the DR, people in other parts of the world, people in Afghanistan. I don't know, right? Would you say the same thing to them? Like, hey, y'all, like you should know about what's going on in places like the DR, especially since the United States participated directly in creating what is the impoverishment of the DR.
Can I change my mind?
What's that? You changed your mind?
Yeah, but
What'd you change
not
it to?
in that way.
Okay,
so
go
I
ahead.
feel like I'm a big fan of education. I love like reading and I love learning. So I feel like getting educated should be your priority, but to some extent you should not be forced to know something. It's also how you use it.
Okay.
And how you use what you know and what you don't know.
Okay. I got you. All right.
Can I expand on like what she was saying a little
Abby,
bit?
now go ahead.
Okay,
Please
sorry.
respond.
Sorry, I'm very impatient apparently. But so I do agree with her that like you shouldn't be forced to learn this stuff. It
Yeah.
should just be more of like there should be more stuff about it that you can learn, like more articles about it where like if you happen to stumble upon it and you want to learn about it, you can read it. It shouldn't be like super hard to like find out about like what's going on in Haiti or like what's going on in other places in the world. That's more of like
Listen, Abby.
Not that hard.
Let me. Yeah. Now I'm gonna. Abby.
No, I know,
listen.
I know. I don't mean it like that.
But you mean it. You do mean it like that because that's how 90% of liberal people think about it. It's okay. It's okay. You're just being what everybody else is, and you're saying what everybody else is saying. So it's funny, isn't it? It's all right. So listen, the issue is there's so much in the world to learn that if we put standards on ourselves about what's right, what's wrong, the good way to be, the good way to be educated, the bad way to be educated, and then we start putting like guilt and shame on top of that, it's a cesspool of negativity and shame that we never climb out of. There is so much going on in the world, my friend, that you will never, ever, ever know about. So much more. We barely touched Afghanistan last class. Hardly, right? You will never, ever be able to open yourself up to really taking in what's possible. And there's no way for me. I could literally teach this class. You could take this class. You could start your freshman year, your fall semester of freshman year. You could be on the 5-year plan, and you could take this class for 5 years. We could talk about a different topic every single day for 5 years, and you still wouldn't even barely touch what's going on in the world. So when I hear you say should and like, and then we put the shame onto it, it's really,
That's why I would say like education is to those who want it. Like growing up, it's like the one thing that every parent in DR is like, you should get educated, you need to get educated. And they judge you when you don't. Not everybody's like made for college. Not everybody's made to be like doing research. Not everybody wants to do those things.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, awesome. And not everybody can, right? Not everybody can, right? So this is the nature of it. It's a slow process. And not everybody should. The two of you were in therapy, right? When you were in therapy thinking about what's going on in your life, you're not thinking about what's happening in the other side of the world. You're thinking about you. And that's okay. Like, that's good. And so basically what I'm saying here, to my message to the class, y'all, is like, this class, there are no shoulds in here. Anybody that wants to point a finger, like you can point a finger like, you should this, and you should think that, and you should do this. There's 3 fingers coming back at you. No matter what you can say that's a problem, I will guarantee that I can top it with a problem that's infinitely more tragic than the one you're pointing to and that you know nothing about. So it's like, oh, be aware and think about this and do that. It's like, really? We want to play that game? All right, I got one for you. Let me start throwing some stuff out that you don't know anything about. So that's what this class is. We're rocking. You guys are great, by the way. This is an awesome. I didn't expect to have this conversation. This is a very cool conversation. Yeah. You feel good? You feel like? What'd you get from what we just said?
I feel like I definitely learned a lot. Like, I can't think right now for some reason, but I definitely feel like I learned more, and I definitely know I should be doing more research on the stuff that's like happening around the world, because I personally
maybe if you choose to.
Yeah, I'm saying me, because I want to.
Okay, yeah, you want to.
I don't mean like everybody. I just mean I want to.
Yep. And it's not the system, because you got a phone. You can spend all as much time as you want. Okay, that's cool. And you feel like good? Like if this video goes out into the world and like a year from now you could look at it and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's what I was thinking back then.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think you're awesome. Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. It's awesome. Anna, how about you?
That's what I love about therapy.
What's that?
That's what I love about therapy. Like after a certain time, you go back to like to think about the way you used to think when you first started, and it's just amazing, the growth.
Yeah. Someday we'll have a class just on therapy. We'll have everybody up who's been in therapy, which is like probably most of us, and we'll just say what our big revelation was. All right, man. Thank you. Thank you. Also, sorry about that. Yeah.
Because I also have mine on.
All right. Thank you, y'all. Hey, you know what? We're only going to get through the next one, I think. And wait, who did I put together? No, it's going to have to be. You know, it's going to have to be because you were going to do it last time. So it's going to be Albert and Devin. All right. One of the two of you. Are you good sitting up here? All right. Hey, by the way, when you are, if you're, we always fill out let you know ahead of time that you're volunteering. Whatever, it's all good. So, Devin, where are you from?
I grew up in Lansdale, Pennsylvania.
Lansville?
Lansdale.
Lansdale.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where that the big garden is or something, right? Isn't it Lansdale?
Sure.
I think so. No, isn't there like a big nursery or a big hang on, what? There's something there. All right, there's something in Lansdale. Okay, Lansdale. What's your background?
I don't know.
Like your ancestry?
I know my dad's Sicilian.
Your
maybe,
dad's Sicilian?
I think.
Yeah?
He did the 23andMe, I think.
Yeah?
But I don't know.
Does he get really dark in the sun?
If he goes out in the sun.
Yeah, does he get really dark? Or
No.
is he just dark? Yeah. We did some DNA, this biogeographical ancestry testing, and we really find that so much African blood among Sicilians, right? Which is why people from southern Italy, which makes a lot of sense, often are more darkly pigmented and often get darker in the sun. Albert. Okay, so Devin, Albert, how about you?
I'm from Georgia.
Where are you from?
Georgia?
Georgia?
The state.
Like the state of Georgia?
Yeah.
How'd you get up here, man?
I'm studying engineering and then didn't get into Georgia Tech, not MIT, not Virginia Tech. So here we are.
Dude, what? Dude. You need all that applause because as an Asian man who didn't get into Georgia Tech, I know your ego has been shattered tremendously. To have to settle for Penn State engineering.
It was a bit hard.
Were your parents all right with it though?
Yeah. It's
You're
still
not
a very
like
good
the loser
engineering
of the
school.
family or anything? They're good?
Yeah, they're
All
fine.
right. Okay, good, man. All right, listen, go to the next one, bro. Here's what you all are going to talk about. Stop Asian hate. Do you want to go? Should we start with? Yeah, I think we should. In all fairness, we should start with Devin. Are you ready? What year are you, by the way?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior? What year are you?
Sophomore.
Sophomore? All right, Devin, tell us what you know about Stop Asian Hate.
I know it's been trending. I don't know if trending's the right word. I don't know if it's appropriate. But I've seen a lot about it, like on the internet, like hate crimes and stuff like that. I should know more. I guess.
No, hang
based
on,
on what
don't
we
say
just
I should know
discussed,
more.
I
What did you see on the internet? Like, where did you see it, or in
I've
what
just seen
context?
stories of like Asian people getting assaulted in public, getting treated badly, people being racist toward them.
And when you say assaulted, what do you mean?
Just, I don't know. I don't know a specific example, but maybe getting a drink thrown on them or getting shoved in the street or beat up. I'm pretty sure there was something about someone getting like jumped or beat up, something like that. Just an example. This was like a long time ago when I read about it, but
yeah. Do you remember where it happened?
I do not remember where it happened. I did probably see it on Twitter.
Okay, got you. All right, man. And so is it well, hang on, let's go to Albert. Albert, how about you?
I remember seeing on the news that some old people are getting pushed over on the streets and some Asian stops are being robbed and things like that. Yeah.
So people getting pushed on the streets, different assaults happening.
That's correct.
So Albert, how in your community also, or?
Not exactly in my community because I do live in a suburban white neighborhood, so it's
suburban white neighborhood.
Mm-hmm, correct.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I thought it was white people that were doing all this assaulting, but
I think it's a more educated neighborhood, so there's not that much of a discrimination going on.
All right. Okay, I got you.
Correct.
All right. So how do people talk about it? So wait, that's your neighborhood, but are you part of a, what's your ancestry, where are your parents from?
Chinese.
They're from
Chinese, yep.
They're from China?
Mm-hmm.
So are they part of the Chinese community there in Georgia? Where in Georgia, by the way?
40 minutes north of Atlanta.
Okay.
Right.
So are they part of a Chinese community there?
What do you mean by part of a community?
Well, like a community center and like friends and different things.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Okay. So how do people talk about Stop Asian Hate?
I guess my parents never really talked about it. So
Yeah, they never talked about it?
They never talked about it, and then they knew I was seeing things on the news and all. And then because we live in an area that's just so far away from most of the discrimination that's happening, I'm away from downtown. That's where most people are.
Yeah.
And then I'm just so out in the suburbs that it's not really a concern.
So isn't Georgia where the one shooting happened? It was in Atlanta, right? Wait, Devin is shaking her head.
It sounds familiar. Like I know something happened in Georgia. I don't know if it was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But it definitely like rings a bell.
Okay, so here, I want to point something out here, what's really interesting to me constantly. So first off, with Abby and Anna, you know, we would expect, so Anna, you know, so here you are, this Dominicana, right? And who identifies as Afro-Caribbean, because, you know, you're mixed. You have indigenous blood, I can see. You have indigenous blood, you have white blood, you have black blood, right? African blood. And so, so we say like, oh, okay, so here's this person's going to say something about critical race theory, right? Because it's part of the world that you're in. And you live in North Philly, you said, right? So, I mean, dude, you came here 5 years ago from the DR. You live in North Philly. Like, okay, you got it. She's going to have this, right? And she's like, oh, yeah, okay, I got a couple things to say, but you don't have this full laid out discourse, right? Albert, you're Chinese, man. You're living in Atlanta. The worst Asian hate example that we saw was a young man who went into some like nail salons, different places, or massage parlors, right? Remember, this is the guy that was outside of
Yeah,
Atlanta.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
part,
okay.
Yeah.
And he shot a bunch of people. I mean, that's like really serious. And you're saying, oh yeah, I do remember that, right? So so my point is, you shook your head, you remembered, right? And so we're going to come back to Stop Asian Hate in a second. But what I want to say is, we have this idea that certain people in particular populations have knowledge of certain things that are happening in the world that maybe the rest of us don't know. But if we were in that population, we would know. But Albert is demonstrating something really, really cool here, which is saying like, yeah, man, I'm just this Chinese guy, Chinese American guy living my life. And I don't just follow all things related to China and Asians. I'm living my life. I'm studying engineering, doing my thing, trying to be an engineer and pass my classes, right? And I didn't get into Georgia Tech, so therefore, you know, I don't have to study as hard because Penn State isn't as hard as Georgia Tech. So I get to party more. So what else do you know? Like, what would you want the class to know about Stop Asian Hate? What's the hashtag for?
I suppose it's more of a call to action to actively stop these actions on the streets. So, for example, if you do see someone physically performing in Asian hate, you would go up and stop them.
Okay. What would an Asian hate be?
Well, let's put it in like a...
Well, how about if we just go with you? What Asian hate have you experienced?
Not much, honestly.
Not
Because
much? So you have experienced something?
I don't
or?
think I experienced anything because, you know, I'm a big guy. People see me and they think twice, right? So it's not really much of my concern. People wouldn't really come up and try me.
Uh-huh.
But it's an interesting story. I do remember last year I was downtown near Sheets. A guy was drunk, right? And an Asian guy in the store pissed him off somehow, and then he came out of the store. He was drunk. He had no idea what he was doing. He saw me.
The Asian guy?
No, not the Asian guy, the drunk guy.
Yeah, got
and then
it.
he somehow got into a altercation with an Asian guy inside. Anyways, he came out, he saw me, and was like, yo, why you do me like that? You know, and then he kind of tried to pick a fight with me. I was like, I don't even know you. Right, so then does that kind of count as an Asian hate, kind of like a profiling, but then at the same time mistargeting
Well,
the wrong guy here?
Well, the problem is all Asians look the same, right? So
I can't say you're wrong.
just, I am wrong, my friend. All right, but I look at you. I look at 8 different Asian guys. I'm like, well, what's the difference? So therefore, if you're drunk, you're really not seeing it.
It's hard to tell.
Okay, so you were able to stay away from that altercation.
Right, yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, like, you know, things like that do happen, and then let's say people do get misinformation about something that Asians have done, and then, you know, similar altercations will happen.
Yeah. So, Devin, How about you? Like, what would you imagine is the most predominant Asian, like, hate crime against Asians that people talk about? What's happening against Asians? Like, the most common thing that happens. That's the reason for this hashtag.
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure.
What do you imagine?
Just from what I've heard, it's like mainly
It's like what?
mainly like assault crime, like
Uh-huh.
assault, lots of racism, obviously.
What would racism be? Like, what's it look like?
Whether it's like slurs or
Okay.
mocking,
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. Just, yeah, I
Uh-huh.
don't know exactly.
Okay. So most of the what's identified as hate crimes against Asians, most of it is name calling, right? Like slurs and stuff. And mind you, like slurs, like bro, a slur, if the guy came out of that store and called you a name, right? It'd be very different than if he came up and punched you.
Right. There is still a difference.
Yeah. So one of the issues is when we talk about assaults against Asians, if most assaults are calling somebody a name, calling you a name, if we say assault, and what everyone thinks we're talking about is somebody like hitting you. But in fact, what we're talking about for most of the time, like 85% of the time, it's a slur, which isn't just a slur. It's a problem, right? But it's not the same as getting beat up.
Sure. Yeah.
No,
I
go
think
ahead.
when it comes to slurs, you are targeting someone's race directly versus like you can punch anybody on the street no matter what they look like.
Yep.
But to say a slur, you know that a slur is associated with your race.
Yeah.
And that I think takes it like a step further, or it's like more personal,
Yeah.
maybe. Like I don't know, because
Well, that's what makes it a hate thing, right? But I'm just pointing out when we talk about what the hate crimes are, this is the thing. This is really important, and so this is one of the things in Social 119 that you're going to the kinds of stuff that we will talk about in here that we won't. I generally don't like to just randomly use words, like assaults and attacks, because an attack. There was a case of the woman. Remember that woman in San Francisco? No, it was in New York City. An old, elderly Asian woman. She's like 90 years old, and she got attacked by a woman with an axe, I think it was, right, or something. I think it was an axe. That's really different than Albert walking down the street and someone calling him a name. That's a really different thing. And so in a class like Social 19, it's really incumbent upon us to have honest and open conversations, because that's how we have the fruitful conversation. Who has a question for either one of them before we go? Bro, kick it out, man.
All right. How would you sort of describe the visibility and, just the visibility of this movement pre-COVID compared to when the world changed during the pandemic?
Dude, that's a really good question. Was there a movement before the pandemic, do you think?
I don't think so. Once again, I haven't been following this topic as much before the pandemic, and since the pandemic is kind of played into a role of bringing out the Asian hate,
Yep.
and then the topic came up, and then the hashtag.
Yeah, because people had the idea that Chinese brought the coronavirus.
Yes.
Yeah, y'all started it. Not y'all, because you're American, but y'all's people.
Right, correct.
Yeah, all right. Okay. So that's really the thing that kind of kicked things in gear. Somebody else who's got a question? Yes. Another question from the second row.
Have you ever felt like driven out of a community or out of a club or something because of being Asian? I know that like in a lot of smaller towns and stuff, like a lot of Asian shops and like stores and stuff were driven out once the pandemic set in. So like, have you ever experienced anything like that?
Do you know of that? of any examples of that?
I do not know any examples of that.
Dude, this guy's rich, right?
I'm
Don't
sorry.
you know what I mean? This is the guy you want to bring home to your mom and dad, all right? He's got money. First off, he comes up here from Georgia. He didn't even say what his parents do, but I'm sure they're rich. What do they drive, like Teslas and stuff? Benzes?
Audi?
Audis? All right. Got ya. All right. How many Audis, dude? Like a whole field full of them?
It's just one.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What do you drive?
A Nissan Altima.
Nissan Altima.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're kind of lowbrow then. Got it. All right. Yo, anybody else? Yeah. Hang on. Yeah, I got you. Final question up here. And then we're going to move. All right, bro, you are on, my friend.
I got that.
Look into that camera and ask your question.
All right, my name's Nick, and kind of building upon the first question of kind of like the visibility of the movement. Like, how do you feel about how like this movement and like I feel like so many others, they only kind of show up for a little bit, and then the attention span of the people kind of just like, everyone kind of moves on and stuff. So I was wondering how you two kind of like felt about that, or if you noticed stuff like that. Because I feel like throughout the pandemic, like stuff like that, like Stop Asian Hate happened. There was, Palestinian happened and all that kind of stuff. So I was wondering how you two felt about that and what you two thought like we as people can do to combat something like that.
Dude, that is an awesome question. I don't know how I would answer it, but that's a very cool question. Yeah. I really don't know how I would answer it. That's cool. Do you have an answer for that?
I might have an answer. I've noticed it too. Like even just to go back to like the beginning of the pandemic, the Black Lives Matter movement was like all over the internet. Like that's all anyone was ever talking about, all anyone was really advocating for. And then Stop Asian Hate like started. And I remember seeing it, and I remember, I'm like, I should probably educate myself on this because it's something important. It's something that I want to learn about. And then it just kind of stopped. And like, I haven't heard anything about it, seen anything about it on the internet for months now.
Yeah.
And it's tragic, if that's the right word, because it's still something we need to talk about. It's still something that's extremely important and that we need to...
Why do we need to talk about it, and why is it extremely important? Those are statements those are assumptions. Like, why?
I just find it important because racism sucks. And that's like the, very general statement to say. But no matter who you are, what your background is, what your race is, you don't deserve to get treated like that. You don't deserve hate. No one deserves hate.
Okay.
And if a specific race is being targeted, then it's something that we should, I guess, recognize and try to understand, I guess, the underlying cause, if that makes sense.
Okay, so then what would you say to Albert here, who doesn't pay attention to hate against Asians, right? Albert, my friend, she's just telling you to pay attention to your life.
I shall try my best.
Dude, she's standing up for you, telling you to pay attention to your life, and you're like, yeah, I'm just busy driving around in my Nissan Altima.
I mean, hate is a emotion that most people experience. I'd say everyone, but, just in case someone doesn't feel hate. But, some people will go on and hate you, and there's nothing that you can really change about it. If they mean to be, racially targeting Asians, no matter how much lecturing you do to him or how much information you give him, he would still hold on to his opinion because he doesn't want to be changed.
Yeah.
So then what you can do, the best thing that you can do is to be able to stand up for yourself and defend yourself instead of, it is certainly nice that most people are on your side, but it is more important to be able to stand up and defend yourself.
Dude, all right, I'll go with that. That's a nice ending here. Hey, Lily, did you start the question? You go ahead and start the question. Hey, Hey, listen, wait, don't leave, everybody. Hey, nice applause for Albert and Devin. Nice, man. Thanks. Do you have your phones?
It's my bag.
Okay, get your phone. Yep. Por favor. Thanks, man. Yeah, you can sit down. Hey, hang on, don't leave yet, because I have an announcement, by the way. So, do we start it? You can leave it on for a couple minutes, probably. Hey, so let me just tell you something. Today is a day, by the way, the other two, Trish and Madeline, I got you next time. Today is the day when we're just trying to just get used to having conversations in different ways and volunteering and so on, right? But wait, hang on. Yo, hang on, sit down for 1 sec. I'm going to do this. We still have 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes? Yeah, we have 4 minutes. Yeah, we never leave class early. We never, ever leave class early now. And I'm on satellite time. So, yeah, it's 46. So, Lily, you can keep the question going for a few minutes. Just so the top hat attendance question is up. Make sure you fill it out. So look, you need to understand something, or I would like you to understand something, because it makes my job a lot easier. Every class is different. We do it different ways. Here, we brought some people up front. We did what we did. It's always different. And that's the nature of it. So when you come in here, you might have someone on the screen. You just never know what's going to happen. So you got to imagine that we're going to take an entire semester. And yes, we're going to come back to critical race theory, because we're going to talk about critical race theory. We'll say some more about it. We'll probably say more about. We're going to talk more about issues related to the Asian community. There are going to be a number of things, lots of different things that we talk about.